with coverage you can count on. This is the Erie News NOWCAST.
Good evening, I'm Kristen Allen. Thanks for joining us for tonight's edition of the Erie News NOWCAST. In today's time, with COVID-19 variants spreading, when we have a cough, a headache, and tiredness, many of us worry we might have COVID-19. But as the seasons start to change, many of us could be suffering with seasonal allergies instead of coronavirus. The CDC put out this graphic distinguishing the difference between COVID-19 symptoms and symptoms of seasonal allergies. As you see on your screen, COVID-19 and seasonal allergy symptoms have a lot in common. I caught up with an allergist from AHN St. Vincent earlier today. He says there's a checklist you can run through to distinguish the difference.
Itching and sneezing, are the hallmarks of allergy. And certainly if you have fever and coughing and shortness of breath, that sounds more like COVID, not allergy.
And tonight on Erie News Now at 11, we're talking more symptoms and helping you decide when you should get a COVID test. And after a day of extremely high COVID-19 case counts, variants of the virus are cause for concern for people who have already contracted COVID-19. Our Elspeth Meisner reports.
We've learned a lot about COVID-19 since it first came into the United States. We've also learned a lot about the variants as well. Take a look at the latest data according to the CDC for our region. Just 3 months ago, there was only 5% of cases that were reported with the Delta variant. Now, let's flash forward to today, a very different story and very different numbers, as nearly 98% of cases had the Delta variant.
Although these numbers can be alarming, the good news is that LECOM officials are seeing a rise in people getting tested and vaccinated.
We see a definite increase in testing. Testing's being employed as an either-or situation in workplaces and schools and things like that, and folks are needing justification for whether it be travel or school or any symptoms that they may have.
Although they want more people to be interested in getting that first shot, they're seeing a demand in people wanting booster shots.
Also have individuals that have been interested in the third dose, the immunosuppressed population, and we have a ton of interest in folks waiting for the booster shots to come available.
Caputo says at this point, vaccines are key. The more the variants evolve, the more crucial it is to make sure people are vaccinated to protect them against the ever-changing variants.
Vaccination series really does the most that we can do to minimize the opportunity and the time that it has to replicate. The more replications, it's a natural process that's going to occur, and so we'll have a little bit tougher deal with it. But the vaccines have been holding up very well against the variants, and really all three have been holding up very well against the variants.
There's a number of vaccine clinics coming up in our area, so plenty of different opportunities to get the shot. Health experts say if you're still worried about the variants and the rate at which they're spreading, the best thing you can do is keep wearing your mask, keep up with hand washing, and get vaccinated if you haven't already. The head of the World Health Organization is calling on countries with large supplies of coronavirus vaccines, like the United States, to wait in offering booster shots through the end of the year. The WHO head said today that he was appalled at comments by pharmaceutical manufacturers who said vaccine supplies are high enough to allow for both booster shots for people in well-supplied countries. The chief said he will not stay silent when companies and countries that control the global supply of vaccines think the world's poor should be satisfied with leftovers. The United States and other nations have already begun some booster shots. And new tonight, a father of 3 from Erie is recovering after being shot in front of his wife during an attempted carjacking in Atlanta. Last month, Emery and Erica Sparks flew to Atlanta to spend time with their family and friends. After grabbing dinner on their first night in Georgia, a valet driver handed them the keys to their rental car. At that time, Emery says a man in his 20s jumped into the vehicle and shot him. His wife says another teenager then pulled up in another car and shot again. Emery was shot 3 times, once in his arm and twice in his stomach. He had to undergo emergency surgery. He says he remembers thinking of his 3 kids as he battled for his life.
Told my wife just to tell my kids that I love them and I want them to be all that they can be. I felt the pain lying on that ground.
Emery was discharged from the hospital last week, but he'll have to stay in Atlanta until March to receive additional surgeries. A GoFundMe has been set up to help with the help the family with any expenses. To donate, head to our website and click on this story. With kickoff to the NFL season just a few days away, people in our area are flocking to stores, gearing up to support their favorite teams. Workers at Sports Obsession in the Mill Creek Mall say fans of all teams are buying gear before this weekend. But they say the teams in our region, the Bills, the Browns, and the Steelers, have strong support this season as always. And fans have been packing the store for weeks now. Sports Obsession says Bills fans are so excited for the season that the store can't keep up with the demand.
Bills has probably been the most difficult to get so far. Just the supply is outweighing the demand currently, and just Nike can't produce fast enough to fill in the store. So Bills merchandise flying off the roofs, and it's hard to keep in stock.
The NFL season kicks off tomorrow night when the Buccaneers square off with the Cowboys on WICU. Sunday, the Bills host the Steelers at 1:05 on WSEE. And then the Browns take on the Chiefs at 4:25, also on WSEE. Well, that does it for this edition of the Erie News Nowcast. Join us for our next news at 10 p.m. on the CW and 11 p.m. on WICU and WSEE. Have a great night.